Hello, twisted humans.
Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting?
Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked.
So, hello and welcome to episode 190 of your favorite podcast. This is our special topics, and Sierra actually chose the special topic for us, and I'm very excited about it. It was crimes that were solved by regular people in some way. Internet sleuths, Joe Schmo, somebody solved a case that was not law enforcement. My case today is a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. And you will see when I get there, but it was so cool and it has paranormal elements and I was just obsessed with it. So that said, I have a little teaser for you. On the first day of university in Dallas, Texas in 1982, Sheila Wysocki and Angela Samota would be paired together as roommates. The two of them became fast friends and they would become inseparable in their time together over the years. But on October 13th, 1984, at the young age of 20, Angela would be brutally murdered. And the case would go cold until eventually her best friend would be brave enough to look into the case herself. But before we get into that, and Sierra smiles if you're watching this on YouTube, do you have a fun fact for me?
I do. Fun fact, Sheila Wysocki is like my favorite human. No, fun fact,
Agreed.
lacrosse was invented by Native Americans.
Oh!
Did you know this?
No!
Me
But
either until
white
earlier
people
today.
stolen.
Right? I always assumed it was made in like England. No, right
Yeah.
here in the original Americas by Native Americans.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Do you know the difference in like how they played, or is there?
Well, I do know that they used to call it stickball.
Not nearly as catchy. Alright.
It was played over large areas between villages. The goals were natural things like trees or, other natural features. Native Americans are very much into nature. It's probably why I love them so much. Weird. Sorry.
Same.
Anyway.
No, same.
Games could involve hundreds or even thousands of players.
Oh!
Yeah, like they all played, and they were major events that lasted several days.
That's fun.
Yeah,
I like
that's
that.
crazy.
I like that a lot. My fun fact is something happy because Sierra and I just finished recording Urban Legend, and in that 10-minute in between, I bummed her out with a bunch of stuff. So my fun fact is that cows can have best friends.
Like other cows?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So a study at Northampton University in England monitored cows' heart rates and cortisol levels, two indicators that measure stress, then put cows in 3 scenarios: in a pen alone, in a pen with another cow they didn't know, and in a pen with their closest companion in the herd. The cows' stress levels significantly dropped when they were with their favorite herd mate.
Oh my god. That's adorable.
Right? Bats, our favorite. Elephants, my favorite. Baboons and dolphins also are animals in the animal kingdom that have best friends that have been studied.
Wow.
In fact, dolphin studies even show that they have names for one another.
Yeah, dolphins are a little bit scary, okay? Because they do all of these things that are very human-like, even the bad things that are human-like.
I know, like rape.
Yeah,
Sorry.
dolphins are
Sorry.
creepy.
Trigger warning.
Dolphins are like little, like, are dolphins mermaids? You know what I mean? Like, they're just humans in the water.
You know what's funny? In The Sims, when you can become a mermaid and you swim in the water, you can summon dolphins and, like, have a relationship with them, so I think you're onto something
Oh
here.
my gosh.
If
A
you also play The
relationship
Sim
with
like,
them?
no, like a friendship. Can't
Yeah.
do anything freaky with them in The Sims. The Sims is still PG in that way.
Thank God.
If you play The Sims, let me know. Kevin fully admitted to being like a psycho kid and making his Sims swim in a pool and not putting a ladder in them for them to get out and then them dying. And I'm like, you're messed up. Like, boys are
Yeah.
silly. My husband's okay, guys. I promise. But that is best friend related, and I thought that was fun. And my drink suggestion, something that pairs well with this episode, is also related to my episode, in that today's episode pairs well with the gimlet. This was the first popularized drink in America when Detective Phil Marlowe introduced the cocktail in the TV show Friends, specifically the episode The Long Goodbye. To quote Chandler, a real gimlet is half gin and half Rose's lime juice and nothing else. It beats martinis hollow, end quote. So the specific recipe is that you pour gin and lime juice into a mixing glass and just fill it with ice cubes. And then, like, as you sip on it and the ice melts, it like dilutes a little bit. But that is the gimlet.
Damn.
Private investigator related.
Yeah.
But before we get into Sierra's unofficial favorite human and my episode this week, we are going to take a quick break to hear a promo from Cold Tapes. And we will be right back.
I have been listening to Sheila Wysocki since I started listening to podcasts. Her very first episode, she talks about this case.
I actually never put two and two together on
Yeah.
that, and I kind of feel stupid. I have not listened to every episode, but I should have recognized that I recognized this name when I was trying to find a case.
Yeah.
So, in true Alicia fashion, I was totally blind going into this, and I just saw best friend solves
Yeah.
her best friend's murder, and I was like, okay, well, done. I'm picked. Because I get to record this show with my best friend, and I like to think that I would haunt Sierra if I was ever murdered and she would solve my case. So let's talk about it. So Angela Marie Samota was born on September 19th, 1964. She's right in the mix with us. We like her already. In Alameda, California. And Angie, as she was affectionately known, had a beautiful smile, one that was big and bright and put you to ease, and was incredibly intelligent. She was known to be a great friend and daughter. She had enrolled in the Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas, and was studying computer science and electrical engineering. She was one of 3 women in the program, so badass just on its own.
Yes. In the what, 80s?
Yeah,
Like, what woman in the 80s, okay,
is
was doing
studying
this?
computer science and electrical
Yeah.
engineering. Yeah.
Computers were still babies. And when I say babies,
I
I mean like little baby ideas. They were ginormous. Okay.
agreed.
They were 800 pounds.
As were early age cell phones, which we will talk about shortly. But Angela also joined the Zeta Tau Alpha sorority. So on the night of October 12th, 1984, Angie and 2 of her friends, one male and one female, went to the state fair together. Angie's boyfriend was originally supposed to go as sort of a double date thing, but he wasn't able to join them as he had to work early the next morning as a construction worker. But the 3 friends still had plenty of fun, and they went to the Rio Room Dance Club afterwards, where they were there until about midnight. According to the male friend that was with them, Angie went from table to table. She was talking to everyone she knew. She was very well liked on campus, and this was a well known university hangout spot. So she was just in her element, having a really good time. They had taken Angie's car for the night, so she drove her 2 friends home, dropping the male friend off first at around 1 a.m., and then the female friend before heading to her boyfriend's apartment. She snuck in and gave him a goodnight kiss and then went to her own apartment, knowing that he needed to be up early. But around 45 minutes later, she called her boyfriend stating that there was a man in her apartment. This man asked if he could use the bathroom and use her phone. Now, Angie's boyfriend had no idea if this man was already there, if Angie had gotten home and he was just in her apartment, or if she had let him in. But she wanted to be on the phone with him either way, saying, quote unquote, talk to me. But before he could get much information, she said that she would call him right back and hung up the phone. When Angie didn't call back, her boyfriend was obviously incredibly worried, so he called her, but no one answered. So he decided to drive to her condo herself. Now, all of this housing is kind of like university housing, so it's not very far away from other places, and like this is a full apartment complex. So he is doing what any good boyfriend would do and drive straight there to check on her. He knocked on the door but got no answer, and the door was locked. So there was really nothing he could do. So he had a rare early age cell phone, quote unquote, at the time that was provided from his work. So he used that to call the police. And I picture the full plastic phone with the antenna that goes up.
Listen, it might have been so old that have you seen the movie oh my god, what is that movie? With the dude. You know what I'm talking about? The dude. The guy's name is the dude. He's like a bowling guy. And he carries around it looks like a briefcase, but it's a cell phone. Like a fucking briefcase.
That's what he
Technically
had,
it's a
for sure.
wired phone.
For
It
sure.
it just wires
Yes,
to the
it has. Yeah.
briefcase. Like, oh gosh.
It was definitely one of those. It's so easy to carry around. I love it. So that's what he used to call the police, and he told them what had happened thus far, and they arrived at the scene at 2:17 in the morning. Now, because they had no way of accessing her, they broke down the door. This was enough means in 1984 to just bust in. So, what they discovered, though, was devastating. Angie had been laying bloody and naked on her bed. Her autopsy would later report that she had been raped and then stabbed repeatedly, with the cause of death being a wound to her heart, which
Mm.
made me so sad.
Yeah.
If it was just stabbings and it hadn't punctured her heart, like, would they have gotten there in time to save her? Like, it's very sad. So police began to interview Angie's neighbors, and they started to suspect her 23-year-old male friend, who she had dropped off first, that lived 5 minutes away from Angie's apartment. Her boyfriend was ruled out as a suspect relatively quickly, but also still suspected the whole time, if that makes sense, because he had been home and there were phone records that showed that a phone call was made.
Right.
Mind you, like I said, this complex is still incredibly small, so it's possible, but they weren't pressing it too much. In fact, it really didn't seem like they were looking into it too much after having no concrete evidence, no witnesses, no new leads. Angie's case would sadly go cold, and police focus would move to newer and more solvable cases over time. But in 2004, 20 years after Angie's murder, Sheila Wysocki was living in Tennessee. She was married with 2 sons, and was up late doing some Bible study homework. She said that she looked up and she saw Angie. She thought to herself that she had to be dreaming or hallucinating, being overtired, but she was there. She didn't say anything, she just smiled, and Sheila knew that she needed to get some answers for her late best friend. She deserved justice. So Sheila continued to call police, urging them to relook into the case with fresh eyes, new technology, but was ignored over and over and over again. No one ever called her back when they said that they would, and she grew extremely frustrated. During her phone calls, she learned that there was no cold case unit, there was no one looking into her case really. And in 20 years, no one had followed up for answers.
That's insane.
Quote, I think they thought I would eventually go away. Most normal people would drop it and move on with their life, but I didn't. I thought there was something that didn't feel right. I just couldn't take no for an answer, so I kept calling. I did the research, I printed out reports, all of the rapes that had happened during that period, the locations, who was arrested, and tried to figure out what happened. We lived in a gated, guarded community, and one day I was complaining to the head of security that I'd been blown off constantly by the police, and he said, "You know what? You'd make a great private investigator." End quote.
She does. She does make a great private investigator.
At that point, Sheila didn't even hesitate. She went home that night and told her husband that she was going to be a private investigator and that she was going to solve her best friend's murder herself. In 2004, and Sheila, being in her early 40s at this point, learned that in order to become a private investigator in Tennessee, you need to be sponsored by a company. She was lucky, though, that she didn't have to look too far because that same security company that had stated she would be a great private investigator was willing to do just that. Her eldest son would help her study Tennessee laws after dinner each night, and she went to take her exam, and she felt like she knew everything there was to know about law. I love this. She's just like a mom studying with her son at night. Like, I got this. We're going to do it. Quote, once I passed the exam, I stopped going to cocktail parties because we were investigating my neighbors, or some of them had hired me. And when you know someone's personal lives, it's very uncomfortable to be in social situations where they want to talk about stuff that you can't talk about. But I loved it. Now that I had my private investigator license, I thought that police would sit down and work with me. But how stupid was I? They could not have cared less. But they were so sick and tired of me by this point that they reopened the case. End quote. Detective Linda Crum, which awesome name, would be assigned to the case in 2006. But much to Sheila's surprise, Linda didn't blow off the investigation like every other cop in the Dallas Police Department had at this point. She was prepared, she knew about the case, she knew a lot about Angie, and Sheila, for the first time in 20 years, felt like she had somebody else in her life who really cared about getting answers for Angie. Which I love this. All it takes sometimes is like one rookie cop that kind of gives
Yeah.
a shit. The police initially stated that the rape kit collected at the scene, which contained the incriminating DNA evidence, had been lost in the Dallas floods. But the DNA would eventually be retested, having not really been lost at all. So,
So somebody just didn't want to do their job at the time.
yes, correct. And I understand that running these DNA tests involves money. And yes, you could run the DNA and get nothing, but you could also run the DNA and get this.
Yeah.
Blood, semen, and fingernail samples were used to find a match among the persons with a criminal record history already in the system, but they would have no luck on a match until 2008.
Hmm.
They would get a DNA match to a man named Donald Best, who at the time of Angie's murder was on parole while serving a 25-year sentence for aggravated sexual assault and kidnapping. Sounds like a real guy. He was originally sentenced in 1978 before being paroled in 1984, the same year that Angie was murdered. But by 1985, he was arrested again for aggravated rape and kidnapping. So why did they ever let him out to begin with?
Sounds like
Have we
fucking
learned
Bowen Turner.
nothing? Yeah, it was like they never change.
They never change.
When Linda told Sheila the name of the man that had killed Angie, she was shocked because it was a name that she didn't know. She thought for sure that it was either going to be Angie's friend or her boyfriend. Her friend is named in a lot of the sources that I used for this research, but given that he was a suspect for so many years and that his name was already dragged through the mud, I purposely kept it out of my story because I think personally he deserves a little piece. But if you've listened to Sheila Wysocki's podcast, you probably already know his name. In 2010, Donald Bess would stand trial for the rape and murder of Angela Samota. During the trial, various women came forward to testify as victims of rape and state that Donald Bess is a danger to society and should never have been released in the first place. The goal was, I get that it's National Polar Bear Day, okay? God. All right, my computer's like, look at these polar bears. The ultimate goal was to make sure that nothing else like Angie's case would ever happen again and that he couldn't hurt any more women. But Donald's ex-wife also testified that he had abused her and, sadly, their child during their marriage in 1969. It was a powerful and emotional series of testimonies. On June 8th, 2010, Donald Bess was found guilty and sentenced to death. In 2013, he did try to appeal the sentence, but thankfully that was denied. And he didn't make it to his death sentence, though, because he died in prison of a heart attack on October 8th, 2022. I also love like the serendipity of it being October, and that was the same month that he murdered Angie. So, like full circle. Heart
Yeah.
attack, bitch. Get out of here.
I wish he wasn't on death row.
I know. Some good would come from Sheila's passion, though. These women's stories and Angela's murder. In 2016, Dallas police reestablished a unit dedicated to researching and looking into cold cases, so that hopefully with the new technology that they had and fresh eyes and thirsty detectives, that families and friends of those who had of those whose lives had been taken could get justice as well. As for Sheila, according to her interview with BBC, quote, once Angie's case was finalized, I was going to retire my private investigator license and move on. But I started getting all of these letters. When I got the first few, I was kind of surprised. I called people and walked them through what I was going to need to do, and then started getting more and more. So I thought I wouldn't retire my license just yet. End quote. Since then, Sheila has worked over 100 cases and is highly respected in the true crime community and in the private investigation community.
And
And
by Sierra.
by Sierra. Yeah, she's most highly respected. How do we get Sheila Wysocki? Please come on the show. this is my formal invitation. And as far as we know, she has no plans to retire anytime soon.
She is doing the fucking thing, okay?
She is doing the damn thing.
She
And I love
every
that she helped solve her best friend's murder.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
And
All of
that's how this all started. Like,
Yes. If you haven't listened to her podcast, it's called Without Warning, and every case that she has done has been um deaths that were mysterious that the family is trying to have reclassified and reinvestigated as homicides. And that is something I am so ridiculously passionate about, which is why I love her so much. I love that she's actually investigating those things and taking those people's claims seriously because so many people don't.
should we become private investigators, Sierra?
She works near where I used to live in Tennessee. I almost
Yeah.
went and asked for a job. Okay, I'm not kidding. Like, if I had any sort of like more training other than my military copness, I would have been a private investigator with Sheila
Well,
Wysocki.
she
Okay,
started her training with a security team. I mean,
that's
come
true.
on. If she happens to hear this episode, please come on the show. We would love to have you. And I have the most amount of respect for her determination, and I love just like that her friend almost was like, you know what, you can do this if no one else
Yeah,
is going to. So, if you guys see photos of Angie, she is absolutely beautiful. She is like the typical 1980s heartthrob. She just looked like such a sweet person. And it's really sad that this happened. Like, who knows? Maybe she was just being nice and let this person in to use the bathroom and use her phone, or maybe he happened to know that there was no one home and broke in. Who
Yeah.
knows? Either way, it's really devastating, and I know that she is resting easier now that her case has been solved and that her killer can't hurt anyone else. And
Yeah.
Sheila continues to be a badass. I'm glad that you knew. Okay, I should have known how big she was after I saw her website, but I actually genuinely did not put two and two together. But I love it. Like her sitting on a park bench, like all bad. I love her.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very cool. And thank you, Sierra, for suggesting this case topic. Otherwise, I would never have found this case.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was so well known, but I was torn between a whole
I mean,
bunch
do
and I
it by
just saw
me,
the
okay?
best friends. And I was like, I gotta do it. That is my story today. But before we roll on out of here, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review. It really is the best way to spread the word. And if you want more of us, you can come join us on Patreon, where you can find all sorts of unhinged bonus content. But before we officially log off, Sierra, do you have anything fun you want to talk about?
I have a couple things, but I feel like they would be better kept for other days. So, I'm trying to think of something more recent.
You passed your exam!
I did pass my exam.
Tell the
That's
people!
fun.
You literally asked for good vibes.
I did. Thank you all for your good vibes because I did pass the exam. And I'm so glad. I'm so happy that that is over with. I still have to do my practical exam, which I think is going to be easier, but more nerve-wracking. Easier because I'm literally doing what I do every day at work anyway, but more nerve-wracking because someone is literally watching me do it, and I don't like that. But it'll be fine. Everything will be great.
I'm so proud of you. Speaking of healthy skincare, book with Sierra if you live in Alabama, guys. And um, my Finch is helping me keep up with my skincare. I
Yeah.
love it. I love him. I love my little Finch so much. He just became a child. Except I
Yeah.
don't like the colors that I can choose for his head and feathers as a pink
Well,
one. So she's like
so
hot pink and pink right now, and I don't like it.
keep going because eventually you should be able to, you can buy other colors.
Yes, you can. Only for her head and her arms right now.
Oh, okay.
None
Mine
of the
is,
colors I like that are in the store unless you pay for it and you get all of the unlocked ones.
oh, ones that you have to pay for become free, like randomly on a day. I gave
Yeah.
Christine the other day a lemon.
Aw,
I
that's
saw it and I was
awesome.
like, I have to give her this lemon.
That's
Okay.
awesome. I love that you sent her a lemon. Sierra
Yeah.
sent me a teddy bear, guys,
Yeah.
and it's really cute.
We have
Um,
matching teddy bears.
I know.
So,
Yeah, I love it. I need more coins to be able to send gifts. Right now I just send good vibes, and my Finch also just went and got me a new friend named Lizzie and Pistachio. No idea who
yeah.
these people are. Do you have random friends?
Like the micro pets?
No, the so like a message popped up one day and it was like Peaches found you a new friend and it was named Pistachio. It's like a random user that uses it.
Oh, no, I haven't had any random friends, but that's probably because I have so many not random ones. Like,
You have lots of friends?
yeah,
Besides me and Christine? I just had you and Christine. Who do you have that uses this?
just people from like Facebook groups that I'm in.
What the fuck? Tell them to add me. I have no friends. I literally just have you and Christine and Pistachio now.
Yeah, I have Pearl and Amanda, Fox and Elizabeth,
What the fuck?
Muffin, Pickle and
Muffin.
Erica,
Pickle,
Sprinkles
that's
and
cute.
Cupcakes. Yeah, Woodward and Christine. Yeah, I got a bunch of.
And again, we'll remind you guys, if you know what we're talking about, promptly let us know.
You know that. So you know that when you're looking at your colors,
Yeah.
you can push the refresh button,
Yes.
and it'll
One,
give you a
two,
new
three.
list of
I
colors. Yeah.
want her to have gray again, like she did when she was a
Uh,
baby. Otherwise, did you
yeah.
start green? Like when you were
I
a
did
baby?
start green.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, I'm determined to stick with my same color choice. But I will just say that that was my something I wanted to talk about. was how I'm very thankful for this little app because I am a planner person, but I can ignore my planner for days. This at least has immediate positive reinforcement in which I get
Exactly.
select cute outfits. Me and Sierra, we both went to Edinburgh. We got to visit Scotland
I've been
via
to
bird.
Bali,
Yeah, right?
or
Freaking
Andarna has
cool.
anyway.
Well, I when I saw it at first, like, updates with friends, I was like, "Oh, Christine was in New York, that's cool. She maybe went and saw Zandy," and then I was like, "Oh, no, this is a thing you can do in this game."
Yeah.
'Cause then I traveled around Vancouver, which, yes, is where I'm from, and then I was like, "Ooh, I can go to Scotland." But then, do you
No.
adventure through all of them? Okay, I'm, like,
No, I stay there.
15% through Scotland right now, and I'm like, "Do I
Yeah,
leave?"
I usually do because every now and then new quests come up like, how many places can you explore? And so I'm like, oh, I need to go to a new
Yeah,
place.
yeah, yeah. Well, anyways, guys, if you use this app, let us know so we can be friends. Apparently, Sierra has enough friends. I just have her and Christine and a random person that my bird found for me. But it's a very cute app and I appreciate it. So, that said, I am going to let Sierra go to bed and let all of you close your Spotify app. I don't know where you're listening to this. And if you are new here, thank you so much for checking us out. We have a lot of new people right now, and we've gotten like 7 new ratings, and all of them have been positive as far as I can see.
Yay.
No new reviews, but
If you're
ratings.
listening on Spotify and you have Finch, leave your friend code in the comments. We will add you.
Oh, that's a good idea. Um, yeah, do that.
Spotify, you can put comments. So leave your friend code in the comments. Okay.
Yeah, just like it goes to be approved because they're like, "What is this porn that you're trying to?" I'll find it eventually. But yeah, that's a good idea. Do that. If you're not on Spotify, you can send it to us wherever, and I will let Sierra know. But otherwise, we love you so, so much. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next week for Sierra's armchair sleuth discovered case. And in the meantime, keep
Keep it
it
twisted.
twisted. Twisted and Uncorked is a proud member of Weirding Way Media. Hosted and produced by Sierra Zorn and Alicia Watson. If you like the show, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you are listening now. It really is the best way to spread the word. You can check out all things Twisted on our website, twistedanduncorked.com, and we will see you next Tuesday for a brand new episode.